Pixelmator Pro is a great Adobe Photoshop alternative for Mac users. Today I'm going to show you 10 tips and tricks for this great software. Update 3.6 to Pixelmator Pro bring long-awaited support for vector masks, and they are all in the brand new menu. So take a look here in your layer panel. There's a new menu for masks. So click on that. You'll be able to add a mask, but take a look, they already prepare some vector shapes for us to use as masks. So we can click oval, and here it is, we got oval straight away. We can resize this shape. If you want to maintain 1:1 proportion, remember, hold Shift on your keyboard. We can reposition this, and our image is masked inside that vector shape. This option to invert mask, so we got opposite of that. We can change the mask shape. As you can see, there are so many different shapes for us to choose from, so it's really easy to customize the shape of this vector mask. You don't need to be afraid of scaling this up and down. It's 100% a vector mask. So here it is. That's how your image will look masked with this vector thing. You can crop it as the finishing touch, because now we don't need all of this free space around. We can just keep a little bit of free space. And remember, if you got a transparency like that, you will need to export this new version of your image as PNG. So let's head to share the image and select PNG. And here it is, our new masked version. So that's how easy it is to use this brand new mask menu. Let me show you how easy it is to fade one image into another using Pixelmator Pro. So as you can see, I already load my main image here. Now I'm going to add a mask to it. There's a new mask menu since version 3.6. So simply head to the layer panel on the left and click Mask menu and add mask. Now we got this white mask attached to this image. White color means it's visible. If there will be a black color on the mask, this part will be invisible. So as you may guess, if you want to fade it away smoothly, we could use gradient. So click on the mask, not on the layer. Take a look. Layer selected, mask selected. Layer selected, mask selected. Alright, now we can simply head to the gradient tool on the right and grab a basic black and white gradient. Try to apply the gradient on that mask, and you will notice that the black part of the gradient is completely invisible. The white part of the gradient is visible, and all of the grays in between make this smooth transition. And the best part, it's a vector gradient, so you can reapply it multiple times until you are happy with your result. Alright, so let's say I want something like this, and now my image is kind of ready. I got this transparency on the right. So let's drag and drop a second image to this project. A new image loaded above, so I need to drag it all the way down on the layer panel. Here it is. We already see the smooth transition between images, but the second image is a bit too large, so I need to zoom out a bit. Look how large it is. Alright, and we're zooming out and we're scaling that image down. Let's zoom back, and here it is. We make a smooth transition between kitchen and mountains using a single mask and gradient. How to change a backdrop color of our document in Pixelmator Pro. First, you will need to create your document. So select a size that you are interested in and simply hit create here at the bottom. After your brand new document is loaded, now it's time to change the backdrop color. By default, it will be just a white backdrop. As you can see, it's an image layer with the white color. You can switch over the visibility of this layer. But if you right click on it and try to delete it, as you may notice, it's gray out because our document need at least one layer. Let's try to recolor this layer by selecting a bucket on the right side. This tool is called Color Fill. Click on it. Then we can select a new color. And we can simply tap on our white layer. Here it is, we got a brand new color here. Alternatively, we could add a new layer, and on this new empty layer we can use a shape. As you may guess, I will need a basic shape. Let's go with this rectangle. So I draw the rectangle. The big benefit of this is that rectangle is actually a vector object, so I can easily modify the fill color here. We can even fill it with gradient, like that, or even pattern. Let's stick with the solid color. I got this new color now, and I can just simply stretch this all around. We can zoom out a bit to see the edges of the document. And now we can just drag it all around. We got a proper vector backdrop. Can we now remove the layers here? We can delete this one. Can we delete the original layer? Yes, we can, because we add additional one. So now we got only one layer. It's a vector layer, so it's super easy to change the backdrop color anytime. And you can also lock it. So click the locker here in the layer panel. And now this layer is locked, so you will not select, modify, or move this layer by mistake. We can put this tab on the top of that layer. So that's how you can easily change the color of your new blank document in Pixelmator Pro. How to quickly turn your photo into black and white using Pixelmator Pro. First, load your image. Next, head to the top menu, select Format, and search for Color Adjustments. On this list, you will see a black and white option. Click on it. And now, on the right side of your interface, you will have this panel that gives you a control. As you can see, the black and white option is turned on. We can turn it off and on again. And there are some options here for us. We got 5 sliders. So we got reds, so red color, how we turn red colors into grays, green, blue, overall tone, and how intense this will be. If you reduce this, you will see a bit of original color below. So if you want black and white, it needs to be kept as 100%. Alright, so that's how you can do it. Keep in mind, you can mix this with other color adjustment. So you can use levels or curves and use that to adjust some contrasts as well. How can we draw arrows in Pixelmator Pro on your Mac? Here I am in the blank document. I'm going to select a shape tool here on the right side in my tool panel. Now we're going to explore different shapes. There are several categories, but stick with basics because that's where we can find some pre-made arrows. This is a simple arrow that we can easily draw, and it will make this arrow longer and longer. It's a vector shape, so that's the basic arrow that most of you will need. As you can see, there's this green point here that allows us to make the line thicker or the arrowhead larger. What if I start stretching this arrow? It's still working as intended. So that's nice. You can use the arrange panel, so select the move tool, and then you can add rotation if you feel like you didn't draw it exactly as you need, you can rotate the arrow a bit using the rotation wheel here. Alright, how about other style of arrow? What else can we select from the shape menu? There's also double arrow that work in similar manner. There is an arrow with the point. And finally, there is a simple line that can be used to actually also make an arrow. So we can use the line and we can make an arrowhead separately using a triangle. So what if you need more complex arrow? Let's explore that as well. I will delete those arrows and now I'm going to grab a pen tool instead. With pen tool, we will be able to draw a custom line. So I can make a very organic wavy line like this. If you want to stop drawing the line, hit escape on your keyboard and here it is. You can make the line thicker now. But there's no arrowhead. We can add arrowhead by adding simply another shape. As you may guess, a triangle will be the best choice here. So move it into position, give it a proper rotation, and here it is. We managed to create arrow with a pen tool and triangle. So that's how you can add arrows to your project in Pixelmator Pro. There are some pre-made arrows in the shape panel, but you can always use a triangle and a line hand draw using pen tool. How can we change the size of the image in Pixelmator Pro? There are two ways. Method number one is to create a brand new document with that exact size you need. So we go for a paper size or type custom size over here, the exactly size that you need, and then click create. We'll get this a blank white document, and now we can drag and drop our image on the top of that. As you can see, the image is way larger than the document we make, so I move the slider to minus, I zooming out. I want to see those control points that I can push in and resize the image. And as you can see, the image is a bit taller. That's fine. I can kind of use this paper to crop part of it at the top. And now I got my image in exact size, and I can export that as a new JPEG or PNG. But most of us will load the image first. So let's try this method. So if you load the image first, you will get the default size of the image based on that file. How we can change that? We need to head to the top menu to image menu, and there will be image size here that we can modify. We can change units, everything between pixels, meters, centimeters. And then we can put a new size here. So let's make it a bit smaller, maybe 50. As you can see, the height is adjusted based on that. So to maintain the same aspect ratio, I click OK. And I scale the image down. It's way smaller now. There's also another option to change the size of the canvas, not image itself. So the canvas is like the document. So if I make this document wider now, like 60, I did not stretch the image. I simply add extra space around it. Of course, there's always a crop tool for us to use from the tool panel on the right. That will allow us to modify the size of the image and also crop out some pixels that we don't need. You can see the size of it over here. I click OK, and I got the new size. Did you know that there is a proper vector pen tool in Pixelmator Pro? Let me show you how you can use it. After you create a blank new document, head to the right side to the tool panel. You will see it here at the bottom part. Over your mouse and you will see a pen. Click on the pen, and now you'll be able to draw a vector line, a vector curve. Keep in mind, while using the pen tool, we are not actually drawing the line. We are placing points that are connected with the line. Take a look. If I click here, then I click here, then I click here, the line is created between those points that I created. And then we can close the shape by going back to the first point, and we end up with a vector shape that can be now filled with color. We can have a stroke around it, or we can get rid of the stroke. Keep in mind, it's a vector path. It can be used to mask our raster image as well, or to simply design the whole vector icon or logo inside Pixelmator. Alright, but why the line is so sharp? Can we curve the line? Yeah, we can. Let's get rid of this. So you notice that when we just click, 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 we draw a straight line. How to make a curvy line? You will need to click and hold. That's not the line yet, alright? That's a common misconception. What I'm seeing right now are control points for this node. Those control points will decide how curvy the line will be. Take a look. The line I'm drawing right now is already curvy. I click and hold again. And now I can decide how this line will curve. Release. If I click and click, I go back to the straight line. But if I click and hold, I got more control, and I can curve line exactly as I want. Let's close the shape here, and we got ourselves this very ugly looking fish. But don't worry, we can modify it, so you don't need to start over. You can simply double tap on that fish, and we can move those control points. That's the beauty of the vector shapes, that we can edit them without fear of losing the quality. So even your strokes are not perfect, just keep going, close the shape, and then you can back to it, modify some nodes, and get way better shape, especially if you are just a beginner to this tool. Alright, and we got something more like a fish now. Let's fill it with color. So we add fill color to it, no stroke. You can modify the color over here. And now I could draw more elements with the pen, or I can add some shapes to it. We can use the oval shape, make some kind of eye here, change the color for that. Alright, and that's how you can draw a simple illustrations, icons, logo, or simple the masks. We can use that to draw a custom masks for our photos in Pixelmator Pro. There's a proper vector tool, pen tool, and there are also shapes. All shapes here are also vector based. How to whiten teeth in Pixelmator Pro. First, load your image and zoom in using the top slider. We need to zoom in really close today. Then grab yourself a brightening tool from the tool panel on the left. It's over here, look like a little sun. So we're going to use this to lighten this area. First, we can modify the brush. The brush size should be a bit smaller than the biggest tooth here. So even smaller than this. A bit smaller. Alright, softness, I recommend something around 85. And very important, third slider, straight. We want this to be saddle, so this needs to be below 20%. I will start with 17. And by default, you are whitening all tones. We just want mid-tones in this case. Alright, let's zoom in even more and try it out. If it's too strong, you can reduce it. So let's now manually brush over some darker areas here. Keep in mind there's a reset button over here. If you feel like you messed up, you wanna start from scratch, click reset, bam, we are back, and now we can try again. Alright, we can press this button here to see it side by side. Let's zoom out to give it a final check. Alright, so we use the lightening tool to add a bit of light to this area and make it brighter. Let's reset that change and use alternative tool. Because, in my opinion, the brightness is just fine here. The problem is, we got too much like yellow shade. So instead of using the brightening tool, let's head all the way down here, those three dots, and search for desaturate tool. So that's another approach we can take. And again, make the brush smaller, rather soft, and not that strong. Midtones will do. Zoom in, and this time we will not make it brighter, but we will take away the color a bit. I think it's a bit too strong, so I undo using Command Z. Maybe something like that. And take a look. We are not making this brighter, but we can take away color here and there to make it more like gray out instead of yellow. Of course, we can combine those two brushes, and that's what I'm going to do next. So we start with desaturate to take away the yellow areas, and now on the top of that I will add a bit of brightness, but this time very weak, so around 5% and even more soft. Alright, and here it is. Take a look. We got the best result when we combine both tools. So I desaturate first with 20% straight, and then I use lightening with just 5% on the top of that, and that gives us the best result. Let me show you how easy it is to remove backdrop from your image using Pixelmator Pro. I already load my image. As you can see, it's rather large, 8000 pixels high. So to remove the backdrop, simply head to the top right corner. You will see this button over here. Remove the backdrop from the current selected layer. So be sure the layer is selected and click this button. Now the program will analyze your image and then quickly remove the backdrop, and it's done. Let's zoom in a bit to inspect how good it is. As you can see, we got the backdrop out from this area, so that's the areas that are kind of surrounded by the subject of the image, and some programs may skip them. In this case, it's removed, so that's a good thing. Over here, we got a bit of backdrop trapped in between her legs. And as you can see, it's kind of didn't decide well on this floor here. So it's kind of dirt here, multiple colors together. So it's not a perfect cut for the floor. But over here, when we got a bit blur backdrop, we got a nice sharp cut. And like always, a challenging area, that's the hair. So let's zoom in even closer. I would say it's rather good. We got even a semi-transparency over here. Something's missing here, so it seems like it's removed a bit too much in this area. But overall, it's a really solid background remover. Alternatively, we could head to Edit and select and mask option. In this option, everything that is kind of marked with this yellow color will be kind of masked out. We can click here, select subject to select the person automatically. But more than that, now we got control with the brush. So now I can use the brush to mark certain areas. I got plus and minus mode. So if this area is not selected, I can use this minus mode to also make it yellow, make it highlighted, so I will be sure this area is gone as well. In opposite, this area should not be selected, so I'm using the plus brush. We can finish up with the Smart Refine. Take a look at that, way better. Alright, now it's time for the final inspection. Let's search for challenging areas before we notice that this area was not removed, so let's use the minus. Alright, and now I want to set up the output. I choose new layer with a mask, click apply, and in this case we will end up with the full size image with a mask on it. Mask can be later modified, so this is non-destructive method, so it's recommended if you plan for more editing on this image. So now you know how easy it is to get rid of the backdrop using Pixelmator Pro. How to reduce noise in Pixelmator Pro. You may notice when you zoom in, some pictures got this noise, especially low light pictures. We can reduce this in a great amount simply by heading to Format at the top, and you will see it straight away, the noise option. If you click on it, the program will analyze and denoise your image. And now you can see your image without the noise on the right and the original one on the left. Let's zoom in even further, and you can see that this photo here looks much better, but unfortunately it seems like it's almost too strong, so it's kind of replacing the noise, what is nice, with very strong blur. So we need to find a happy medium. That's why you need to play with this slider here. 100% usually it's a bit too strong. In my case, I got this night picture of the city. I think I will use the strong denoise, maybe 85, but not 100. Alright, so I got 85, and now I can see the details. It's blur a bit inside, so that's good because I get rid of the noise, but the details and edges are still sharp. Maybe even lower, maybe 83. That's better. Alright, so don't forget, before you click done, play with this slider. Normally you need to reduce this value, because if it's too strong, it may blur edges in some cases and make the image blurry. Alright, I click done, and take a look. We get rid of almost all of the noise from this night image. It's so much better. Let's zoom out. Perfect. Now I need to save this new version of it, so don't forget, you can save it as brand new file, so don't overwrite the original image. Click File, and then you can export as brand new image. I hope this short tutorial was helpful, and I will see you in the next one.